PracticeEPR. In this video we're going to have a quick tutorial about logging into PracticeEPR and navigating around the system. To log into the site you can go either to the Salesforce login site, our hosting provider, or go to practiceepr.cloudforce.com. I'm just going to log into the system. Each user will be provided with their own login to the system, which they can use from any web-enabled device. Here we see the initial landing page, and this can be customized for each customer and for each user within that client. So here we can see I've got a calendar, I've got a list of items to approve, and I've got a dashboard which can be tuned to your own individual needs. In the left here I also have collapsed the sidebar. I'm just going to open it up and show you what we've got in there. The first area we've got is I've got some custom links to other websites I'm interested in allowing my users to see. I've got a quick create menu, which allows me to quickly add new patients, new care activities, drugs, etc. I've got a shortcut to my calendar as a clinician, and I've got a list of recent items that I've been looking at. So from bill payers to invoices, treatments, and even patients. I can view those quickly and quickly get back to the last thing I was working on. In fact, the system will remember, regardless of which device you use, it will remember based on your login the last thing you were looking at. So if you switch between your pad or your mobile phone to your laptop, the system will remember the last thing you were looking at across all those devices. Okay, let's look at some more navigation. On some of the pages you'll see this link, Show Chatter. This is the Salesforce platform internal Twitter, if you like. Within this we can add pictures, make comments, have conversations about activities that are going on. So I can just talk generally about what I'm doing. And I can share that and communicate it with people that are following me, or I can just update my status for anyone that wants to check on the status of all the people in our company. Okay. We'll see a bit more of this later. Okay, to move around the system, there's a number of tabs across the top. I'll start with the Patient tab. We see the menu on the left stays and the menu across the top stays in place. They don't move around. Within these tabs, most of them behave in a very similar fashion. The first page we land on is showing recent items we've looked at, so in this case recent patients. And I can change between those I've recently created, modified, or recently viewed. And it will remember my setting as a user, so each user can have their own settings. I can also go to a list of patients in this case, and we call these views, and you can create new views to represent your patient. So it might just want to see the patients that I've registered, I might just want to see the patients that have walked in today. Once I see a list, I have some buttons to control at the top for adding a new patient. I can reassign patients between different members of staff, and I can refresh my list. We also see here a glossary. Now I can use that glossary to control and filter the items I see in front of me. We see here the patient name has an arrow on it, showing that it's been sorted alphabetically. If I click on the A, I will just get those patient names beginning with A. If I click on the M, I'll get patient names beginning with M. It's a quick way to find information you're looking for. If I want to see all the information, there's an All tab I can go back to. Now the glossary works based on the column that's got the arrow on. So if I was to change my column to be gender and click on F, I'll only get the female patients. There we go. Not very useful in practice, but I think you can understand the point of the exercise. Let's go back to all the patients again. I can also look at the information in a printable format as well. And here we open a new tab, and we've got a much simpler format, much more suitable, using more of the space, and I can say how many records I want on each page and print that off. I'm going to close that for now. Finally, I can scroll this window, and you'll see where the number of records goes over a certain number. You might see 1 to 100 of 200. You can also use the paging buttons at the bottom here, previous and next, to page through results, and you can jump to an individual page. Okay, let's just show you that in action on some other screens. Let's go to the drug list. Again, we can see, in this case, recent drugs, in this case, recently viewed. And I'm going to look at all the drugs in stock. Okay, just see some of those techniques again. I can search by the column I'm looking at, and if I click on that column, it will reverse the search. So it will go descending or ascending based on when I last clicked it, and the arrow tells me the status. Okay, let's look at the search facility now. In practice, you're not going to be running through the lists and trying to find things. You're going to be looking for individual items by searching for them. So let's search for patients with a surname of Smith. Now the system doesn't necessarily know we're looking for patients. I haven't told it only to look for patients. Down the left here you see all the different type of things it's checked for the word Smith. Okay, and I can change which items I'm searching for by changing the check of the box. And that's me changing it as a user. That's my preference of what I want to search for. It doesn't change it for any other users of the system. Once I see an item I'm looking for, anything that's underlined you can click on. So in this case I'm going to click on Jim Smith. There's Jim Smith with a photo of myself on there indeed. Okay. If I want to edit items, I can edit them either inline when you see one of these pencils. Some fields are read-only and they have a padlock. So let me edit this one inline and change the blood type. And we'll see the buttons here change to put a save button instead of an edit button. I can make multiple changes here, but none of them are saved until I press that save button. So that's fine for making one or two changes, but if I wanted to change every field, that's a bit cumbersome. So in that case, I would use the edit button, and I'd get all the fields editable and make all the changes in one go. And then again, when I'm finished, I can hit the save. Okay. Now you'll see here the recent items is changing to do with what I've been looking at. So looking at my profile page, looking at the Jim Smith patient, that's all changed on this left-hand side. I can also customize the page. So as a user, maybe I'm not interested in immunizations for my practice. Maybe I'm someone who doesn't actually need to know that information. Maybe that information isn't relevant for an admin clerk. And I can remove that information from the layout. So we now see the immunisations have gone. Let me remove a few more to make that much clearer. I'm going to remove some allergies and some vitals and prescriptions. So all we'd be left with are notes, attachments, patient history, family members, episodes and appointments. We see here the list of items has reduced. Now on the main page we have the detail we edited, and we also see a number of what we call related lists. If I scroll down the page, we can see those related lists appear. Some of the lists have buttons that can affect what's in that list. So adding a new family member, adding a new episode, adding a new appointment. And I can also drill down by clicking on the link or clicking on the edit to make the changes on those items. You can, as an administrator, also change the columns that appear in these lists. And you can find that out in the admin videos. If I hover at the top here, I have a quick way of jumping through those related lists rather than scrolling down the page. And in all cases, I can always use the browser back to go where I was on the previous screen. I can also click on these links to jump down to a relevant section on this page itself. Here I jump down to family members. Okay, that's it on the basic navigation. Thank you for joining me, and please feel free to look at our other videos.